Hello everyone, back to another YouTube video. In today's video I'll be discussing some of my James Bond opinions. However, specifically, to make this slightly more exciting because you hear lots of James Bond fans about the James Bond opinions, will be my unpopular James Bond opinions. Bit of an oxymoron. Basically, these are things that I think are good in a Bond film, but other people really don't think that are good in a Bond film, if that makes sense. So let's just go straight into the video. First, these are top 5, by the way. So in at number 5, in reversing order, is actually I Like Spectre. This one ranks probably the highest on the list because it's relatively getting slightly more popular film now. But right from the get-go, I've always loved this one. This was the first ever James Bond film I saw at cinema back in 2015 when it came out. And I just remember being just blown away by the entire film. I think the cinematics are excellent. The intro is excellent for James Bond. I just think it's a brilliant Bond film. Many people did not think it was a good Bond film. Many people think it was just a James Bond film, kind of like the Phantom Menace of the Bond film, kind of like a good concept, but simply a story that doesn't need to be told because it's kind of like we know the origins of Spectre, we don't need the whole film on it. I can kind of understand that point of view, but still it's quite interesting to know kind of, you know, kind of prequel that how, you know, the tensions really start to build between James Bond and Blofeld. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good Bond film. At number 4, I slightly touched on this in my ranking my James Bond films. Number 4 we have For Your Eyes Only is in my opinion forgettable. This could be simply because like I didn't even watch this film all the way through since like 11 months ago, a year ago. Might have something to do with it, but I don't know, I can remember what happens in the film, but like it is nothing in it really stands out to me. Yeah, I just don't really think it's, like I said, it's forgettable really. I mean, there's nothing in the film I think is really excellent. I think it's kind of just a little shadow film that is completely outshadowed by, like, you know, other, especially Roger Moore films like For Your Eyes Only and Moonraker and View to a Kill, films like that. I just don't really, and it's not a bad Bond film, I just, like I said, I mean, you can see me starting my words, is the point, it's forgettable, I don't really know what to say about it, yeah. In number 3, this is probably my most, a very controversial one, but in number 3 I have I Like Die Another Day. Yeah, I said that, I like Die Another Day. I think it's a good Bond film, and honestly, I don't really see what the problem with it is. I'll admit, the CGI in it is terrible. It shouldn't be there. That bit where, you know, like Pierce Brosnan is like water skiing or something around the tsunami wave of the icebergs, that is just wrong. It doesn't make any sense. The rest of the film is really, really good. I think it was a great 40th anniversary film. There are lots of references to past James Bond films. The new M is there, new Q there for the very first time. Yeah, new Q there for the first time. Yeah, I just think it is actually a good Bond film. The villain's good. Yeah, like I said, I actually think it's a good Bond film. The Aston Martin is very good on it as well. The Aston Martin DBS that really fits the genre of the film. And yeah, I think it's a good Bond film. And at number 2, sticking with Pierce Brosnan, is number 2. GoldenEye isn't his best Bond film. In my opinion, that is The World Is Not Enough. Pretty controversial one, I know. I mean, GoldenEye to many people is the big Bond film of the 90s. It is simply the one that set the stage for Pierce Brosnan's acting. I do really, really like the film. I just would rather watch The World Is Not Enough. To me, it's a slightly more old, well, not, I wouldn't say old style James Bond, but slightly more kind of easy to follow, if that makes sense. I don't particularly like the jump between, like, I get kind of like, you know, the Cold War to a few years later. I do get that, because of course you still want like the Russians and Soviets and the villains, but I don't quite see why I needed to have that link. They couldn't just have like a one film, one timeline basis, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, GoldenEye is a great film, but I would rather watch World Is Not Enough. It's as simple as that, really. In at number 1, my probably most unpopular James Bond opinion, and I also slightly touched on this in my rank of the film, that is, Octopussy is better than The Spy Who Loved Me. I generally do believe this very strongly. I think The Spy Who Loved Me is a great Bond film. It was one of the first Bond films I ever saw when I was a child, definitely the first Roger Moore film I saw as a child, but Octopussy is better. It's more memorable, the sights are more interesting, and the more I kind of watch The Spy Who Loved Me, the more I think it's kind of just like, there's so many aspects of it they could have improved, but they didn't. I mean, the climax scene with the Stromberg's boat is fantastic, that can't be topped. But some other aspects of the film, like, there's a good 30-35 minutes of the film, you know, where there's kind of in Egypt, rather in that van, kind of just like sections where they just kind of drag on and they're just not really relevant to the overall plot. So I think they could simply have cut out to make it a better Bond film. But yeah, guys, that is my top 5 unpopular James Bond opinions. Let me know in the comments if you agree with them, disagree with them, and what your unpopular James Bond opinions might be. So for now, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Goodbye.